Hello again, viewers and listeners. Welcome back to Happy Tutorial Point. In our introductory video, we had done a little bit about the history and biography of some of the pioneering scientists in cell biology. Today, we look at the cell as an overview. Just as when we look at the planet Earth from outer space and see a colorful blue-green orb, we see the cell as a blob of life. But increase the acuity and magnification, and lo behold, a bewildering array of intracellular bodies and structures of such intricacy come into view. These are the cell organelles, or the very structures of life. And there are so many of them, from teeming mitochondria, the powerhouses, to factories like the Golgi apparatus, the endoplasmic reticulum, scattered ribosomes, lysosomes, vacuoles, and many, many more. They all live in the cell in one integrated ecosystem headed by a nucleus. What is a cell? We covered this topic in lesson Introduction to the Cell in some depth. In a very simple manner of speaking, a cell is an enclosed compartment, and very simply it has three parts: a cell wall and/or a cell membrane, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Having thus stated, the cytoplasm is where the whole buzz is, and myriads of cell organelles dot the landscape. It is a teeming broth of mitochondria, ribosomes, the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, lysosomes, the various types, vacuoles, and what have you. In plant cells, there are chloroplasts too. Each of these organelles seemingly existing on its own, but an intricate link in the dynamic process of life in the cell. Let's look briefly at some of the star players in cell organelles, and later we'll cover them all in depth to the extent possible in quick video modules. The cell wall and cell membrane. The cell wall is usually composed of a double layer of phospholipids and proteins. All cells have a cell membrane. Sometimes this is referred to as the plasma membrane. This membrane controls the entry and exit of materials to and from the cell. This is a selectively permeable membrane. What this means is there is a strict control on what gets in and out of the cell. Two common means of entry and exit are by the processes of diffusion and osmosis. More about that later. Plant cells have an additional outer rigid wall called the cell wall. This is composed of cellulose. While this provides rigidity and a scaffolding to the cell, it's also permeable. The cytoplasm. Simply stated, the cytoplasm is the partly fluid medium of the cell. In it, everything else exists. It's a complex colloidal mixture of proteins, carbohydrates, gases, and many others. It is the sea in which all the cell organelles, complex molecules like RNA and enzymes, swim around. And roughly in the center stands the centerpiece, the nucleus. This is the nerve center of operations, the headquarters of the cell. Often the term nucleoplasm is used for the cytoplasmic zone around the nucleus. The nucleus. The nucleus can be rightly called as the headquarters or nerve center of the cell. Carrion means nucleus. It has a double-layered membrane called the nuclear membrane. And this membrane controls the exit of materials from within to the cytoplasm. The chief feature of the nucleus is the presence of chromosomes. These are seen as chromatin-colored, rod-shaped bodies at the time of cell division. Thus, the nucleus plays a central role in cell reproduction. It also directs chemical activities in the cell and determines the shape and functions of the cell. Here are some additional terms of interest to you. A diffuse zone in the nucleus is sometimes called the nucleolus. When a nucleus is not well developed, it's called a nucleoid. When a nuclear membrane is missing, such a nucleus containing organism, usually unicellular like bacteria, they are called as prokaryotic, versus the nuclear membrane containing organisms which are eukaryotic. Finally, to round off this quick overview, let's look at some of the major cell organelles and their function very briefly. Each of these organelles deserves a video module of its own. We have mitochondria, which are powerhouses of the cell, provide energy for the cell, and they generate molecules called the ATP. The endoplasmic reticulum, which is a network of ribbon-shaped flattened tubes, continuous with the membranes and involved in the synthesis, transport, and often storage of important cell products. The Golgi bodies or apparatus, these are stacks of flattened sacs, which are sometimes curved. Vesicles are pinched off at the periphery of these. It is the site of aggregation and packaging of products synthesized on the endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosomes, small, round, dark staining granules. They exist freely in the cytoplasm or are sometimes attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. These are involved in protein synthesis. Lysosomes, these are small vesicles filled with enzymes capable of the breakdown of larger molecules into smaller ones. And there are several types of lysosomes. In addition to these bodies, there are some cell organelles like the centrioles, plastids in plant cells, vacuoles which act as storage bins, and some others. From time to time, some hitherto unknown cell organelle finds mention in the Journal of Cell Biology. As mentioned earlier, each of these cell organelles involve in multiple cellular activities, and they are all deserving of exclusive attention and description. This then is a brief overview of the cell. Thank you for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe.